Welcome back, guys. Got a Foxbody Mustang VIN P. Haven't looked up what VIN year it is. Just want to go test drive it. It's been sitting enough. Fuel pressure, even though he's got some sort of gauge. So what I did is first channel coil control on all the coil. So first channel, what I did is coil control, parade of all the spark events, and then second channel cylinder 1, third channel cylinder 1 injector, and then fourth channel would be relative compression, which I'm going to attempt to do South Main Auto Eric O style, run it, and then while it's doing what it's doing or whatever, shut it off and then do a relative compression test. And I believe, let's see if I can do it, it's got an auto shut off, so to disable it says you hold it. It should be blinking red or something. Oh, well, okay, hold it while you turn it on. Red. There it is. That's the first time I did it. And yeah, see if clear flood mode works. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Alright, so we saw the ignition data. We've clearly got a problem in the ignition. As long as timing is correct. Just want to make sure that fuel is correct. So I'll check fuel real quick. So here's my gauge setup. Here's my SUR and R adapters. Buy them. FPT 22 and 290 or something like that. So same setup. I just made a hose. AN fittings. And boom. Now we're in the WPS. Pressure. Fuel pressure, but zero it with it off. And then I think it was like 35 PSI, so I'll go range 2. Shouldn't go more than 50. And the problem with this is I want to suspend it. There we go. Put it somewhere over here. Because vibrations will affect it to a point. Not really so much the WPS as the delta sensors. Huh. I just said $4 grand or 35. scared now. So the yellow is my fuel pressure at like 35. See, the regulator works. So we'll see if when it misfires, if I have good fuel pressure. Simple as that. All right, here we go. And I got good fuel pressure. So I'm pretty much done here. This thing is fast. It's a high output. This is just raw fucking power. You got power all the time. And I mean all the time. Except for high RPM. High load. Oh yeah. He's gonna have fun with this when it's done. So here's the firing order. 137-26548. Got it right here. Looking at this file, this is the data I got. One of them. So having cylinder 1 with the sink right here. Let me lift up the blue. There, you can see the red and red. And if you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 ignition vents, and then that one. So full revolution, but every other ignition event is going open. This one was almost open, but there was something, a little more than something, open. But even on the good ones, cylinder 1, that looks like shit. So cylinder 1, here's 3. Here's 7. 2. 6. 5. 5 looks like poop. And green is the injector. That's when it's off. This is the on time. It's like 13 milliseconds when you're full throttle. So that was, I believe that was 5. Here's 4 and 8. And we're back to 1. Whoa. 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 Got cylinder 1 secondary. And then so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then again. So that's one full firing order. Injector right here on cylinder 1. And then it fires right there. So it's roughly end of the exhaust stroke if this was a compression peak on each one. So there's that, and then when I floor it, it turns into this. Whoa. Here's cylinder 1, had it there, have it here. I'm losing one cylinder. This didn't even look like the coil got controlled. Right here, open, 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 open. We got a firing line but no spark line. Let's compare a good one and a bad one. Well, even a good one is Not great. Very hashy, very noisy. I don't like that. Then there's that one. Open circuit. It's being controlled, it's firing, but it's got no place to go. So hopefully the coil is healthy. But it's intermittent too, because look at cylinder 1. We have something going on there, something going on right there. Again. But if we go down, sometimes, okay, right here. Cylinder 1, okay. Here's cylinder 1, open. So it's kind of intermittent on each cylinder. Second one, like, yeah, here's only 1 and 2 out of 8. I don't know. I think it's too chaotic. I'm wasting time and energy trying to isolate. We clearly know what the problem is secondary ignition. If it was 1 or 2 consistently, even intermittently, but consistently on those cylinders, I'd have no problem isolating. I'm even thinking now is a waste of time to look at secondary on each bank. Primary is giving me the answer. 3. So we're looking at all that, but we pretty much saw all that. What was new was fuel pressure, and I forgot to say that. Forgot to measure it. Average about 39 when it's misfiring. Fuel is not the issue. 93 Mustang 50 HO high output, 54 thou gap. Technology, baby. Late model restoration. 50 Fox engine. Foxbody. Spark plugs. 7 to 14. And you know my number. 13, baby. So after that test drive, put the fuel back, look at some data, and I'm going to conclude that spark plugs. It's got to be. Or at least I'm going to conclude that secondary ignition is not going to be worth scoping. I can see it in the primary, thankfully, hardwired in, and I can see what I need to see. But what I did is I pulled the plug. Just want to see what the hell's going on. I want to see color and condition. It's supposed to be a 54,000 gap, which it is not. But my more concern is this. Autolite. Painted while I was in there. Probably painted the valve cover if I had to guess. Today, we will be replacing these. Yeah, see? See? That was different from that one. There was no breaking it loose. That's how these two were. Got one plugged, half torqued. Always start by hand or a rubber hose or rubber tool. Alrighty, 13 footer pounders. Torque, baby. But I want to pop off this cap. Just make sure there's nothing funny inside. Oh, okay, so MSD rotor, brand new cap. Yep. So I don't need to explain my stance on Fords. I think it's pretty well known. But I gotta say, this thing's pretty cool. Well, bank 1. Want to know where that black paint on the auto light plugs came from? Same paint that they covered the throttle body union coupler. Wow, didn't fix it. going to show the setup for the amp clamp. Current flows from the front to the back. There's an arrow. So you have ground control right here. Here's power. And before I do that, no, there's no current flowing through it. Some people, or even me, different applications call for different things. We're not running right now. So I'm going to turn it on. 20 amp. Green light. It's going to hit 0. Fish this guy through. And we're all set. Let's get some data. So Patrick Master says that I do circular testing. So I would disagree. I would say I try to do the testing that is required for me to be thorough and accurate to do my job. This wasn't thorough and accurate. What did I do? What didn't I do? What did I miss? Well, I'm looking at the coil. And I mean, this is spark control to a point. This is turn on right here and turns off. This is probably where it turns back on to fire the next one, clearly. But why is this one so different from this? Well, let's look at what controls this. And here we are. This is what controls it. Red and green. Let me zoom in to 1 or 2. So you have red and green. What those are the cam sensor inside the distributor, the Hall effect sensor, creating a square wave. Red is your profile ignition pickup, PIP signal. It's your cam sensor, or if it was a newer style with the distributor-less ignition system, that would be your crank sensor. And then they also use a cam sensor. But on this, it's both. It's got a distributor, so it's both. So the pickup, profile ignition pickup, goes to the PCM, out of the distributor, through the module, out the connector to the PCM, and then from the PCM back to the module. And then what it does is it sends a square wave called the spout, spark output. It's advanced. That's your ignition timing right here. Looking at that, you can see computer is controlling some sort of spark advance and is being commanded to control that spark. So we zoom out back right here and we can look at the work being done by the coil. This is your current in amps. Right here at about what, 5 amps, 4.5, 3.8. So I'm gonna call it a 3.9 essentially. Yeah, 3.97. We'll call it 4 amps. If I go, here's the trick. If you ever want to line this up, you can just highlight that and just hit 4. Enter 4 amps. It's right there. So we zoom back out. So we got a saturation level of 4 amps. But what is happening right here? Right here, right here, right here. What the hell right here? Specifically though, let's say the current is building and it fires when it turns off. It looks like it lines up with the green. Right there you can see this lines up with the green. So it's gonna fire the coil on the spark output, the green. But what happened, so we can see this lines up with the green. We're actually missing one spark right here. Something happened. And then right here you can see the second lines up with the green. And then right here lines up with the green. But what the hell is happening? So right here we have our turn on our dwell. It's our dwell time. We have an off period right here. This one, it was on, turned it off, and it created the spark. It turned it basically right back on and built the energy back up. There was still energy left in the coil because it didn't drop all the way to ground. So it started up here, like a shorted coil almost. That's what happens when you have energy left over from saturation. There's no resistance, so it just builds right back up, and then it fires again. And we're missing one right there. Lines up with green, fires right there, and then this green right there, rising edge of the green, no fire. We are being commanded, we are being controlled, but the ignition control module is not controlling the coil. Yeah, look at that one. This one would be these normal one-ish. Probably, if it was idling, it would be 1 to 1.5 milliseconds. This one's high loaded, high RPM and loaded. So these look average to a point. Let me zoom in on these. You got a ton of noise, ton of effort trying to keep that spark going, but it looks okay compared to this guy. You can see, turns it on, and when it fires it, you can see when it turns it on and turns it off the fire, it turns it right back on, turns the coil right back on, and takes the spark away. And we got dwell saturation right here. It's like, what the hell are we doing? And then yeah, this guy, so much energy. Look at that. Strong spark. Even then, had trouble. Look at that. That looks like poop. So looking at these, you have your firing line, but these guys have some sort of spark line. That's the hash noise. This one goes up like it's lean, but this guy's got no spark line. I would say it's open secondary, and the energy is finding a path to ground through the coil. But you see that, just not enough energy to fire that coil. The issue is between the distributor output and the actual spark control. And what is in the middle of these? Ignition control module. Power to the ignition control module stayed at 12 volts while it was doing this. So I call it ignition control module. So after reviewing the data, we are going to replace this ignition control module. So one thing also, when I had the distributor cap off, check for excessive play. I wouldn't call it excessive on this one. So to do this module, we're going to pull the distributor out. Someone already made an arrow right there, so I'm going to use that one. Just made a little paint mark on the manifold. And then to line up the rotor, I just made 2 little marks. The rotor goes in the middle of them. And then when I pull it out, I'll make a mark of where the rotor was or goes to, just for a rough estimation. So when I stab it back in there, it'll turn with the gear, go right back there. And yeah, call it a day. Here we go, MSD. Made in Taiwan. Better than China. Motorcraft failed after almost 30 years. Alright, gonna crack it loose. Okay. Well, it's not very tight. And check this out. Here's a connector for the module, and here's a spout connector Oh yeah, spout is shorted all right. All right, here we go. Shimmy it loose, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Okay, so it's coming towards me. Right there. Handy dandy. God damn it. Handy dandy marker. Keep the housing in line. And bingo bongo. In the pocket you go. No, you do not, because you leak sometimes. Alright, there's a gear. It was an all-wheel drive. Oh, boom. 5.5. Wasn't the 5. Okay, so there's 3 prongs up in here. There we go. It's like a connector. Thermal paste. Heat sink compounds soft pack. So I'll apply it to right here. Use it to spread it. Hit these connections with just a hair of dielectric, just a hair. Again, just a hair. I'll make sure way in there. You can actually cause problems if you put too much. You won't seat in there right. And its job isn't to make connections, it's to seal moisture out. Alrighty, here we go. Alright, we're in, and let it rest. These are very, very, very tiny screws. Calling it. Alright, we'll get some dipstick oil action on my lead. That's exactly where I wanted it. But where I really want it is on this distributor O-ring. One more. And put that housing nice and straight back. Everything lined up. Snug her back down. Go drive it, make sure she's good. And then I'll set the timing. Alright, there we go. Lined up. Lined up. Sounds so dramatic. Alright, all back together. We'll go drive it. Again, just want to clarify setup. Red and green leads are my pickup pip and spout. Profile ignition pickup is the cam sensor, Hall effect inside, and it goes out to the computer. And the computer sends a spout signal back for ignition timing advance. That's why the green is more advanced. And that's when it turns on and off the coil. And yeah, this is this coil, 2 wires, power and ground control. The ground control is controlled by this ignition control module. This creates a spark. This controls the spark. So here is where I did like a second gear. Which is like 5. So I did that last time, and like the last time I drove it, it got like the worst that I've ever Who loves working at 9 p.m.? Dennis does. Because they're his hours. No one's got to tell me what the fuck to do. She's a little toasty. Turned her off. Let's go back home. Woo! This is somewhere in Mexico, by the way. Drive safe, bro. This thing is scary. For how old this thing is, it's got a lot of power. Woo! Does Dennis need a Foxbody? Oh man. I will say I'm scared to death in the turns. Straight. This thing just scares the shit out of you. Captain's log. This guy in a Hyundai or a Kia, whatever the hell is in front of me, try to race me right now. And you know what? I think Dennis does need a Foxbody eventually. And I can whoop people and say, damn, I just beat you in a Ford. And dare I say it, Ford sounds better than Chevy. I mean, listen to it. I swear I'm not drunk. I'm appreciating the Ford just as bad. Now, as you can see in the yellow, nice, consistent, even. Spark looks nice, consistent, even. We're back, baby. You can see right here, back here, when I scroll back, you see on the top of the current ramp, there's saturation. This one was, I was cruising and I stepped on the gas and we went high RPM. So as we're going, we're gonna see the saturation decrease. About right here is where we start noticing it. Right there. There's our first one with no saturation because the RPM has increased. Or high RPM, high load. Whoa! And look at that spark. Looks beautiful. There's hash here, but in the middle, that's a nice clean spark. So That's a fix. This is idling right now with the spout connector shorted. You can see the red has a gap. It's retarded compared to the green spout. The computer advanced right here. Simple as take our shorting bar, out, and now we have no computer advance. That's how you put it in base timing mode. So to finalize this one, set the timing to 10 degrees and then put the spout connector back in. Now we're at 16 degrees. 6 degrees of computer advance. There's a 0, 10, and a 15. Previous owner set it at 15, so we put it back to 10. That's pretty much it for this guy. Runs great. No misfires. No misfires, right? Alright, diagnostic Dennis out.